Chris, thank you for joining us this morning. Describe the government's vaccine rollout in one word.
Shambles.
OK, if it's a shambles, what would you do differently?
Well, I think we're now bearing the brunt of decisions that were made or not made back in September, October last year. So the government was very slow to order vaccines. We were one of the slowest countries in the OECD, right down the bottom of the pecking order. And now, of course, we find ourselves one of the slowest countries to roll it out. So there's a direct correlation between those dates. We're the second slowest in the OECD. Chris Hipkins says we were going to be at the front of the queue. The Prime Minister says it's meant to be the year of the vaccine. We're the 115th slowest country in the world. And Australia has been described as a shambles. We are way slower than Australia, and so I think shambles is the appropriate description.
And taking a step back from that stuff, what materially is at stake for Joe Blow Kiwi?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. The first is, if you look at what's happened in Victoria in the last couple of weeks and these new variants, the Delta variant that have been spreading around the world, the highly transmissible ones, we have an unvaccinated population here. All it would take is one breach in MIQ and with this new transmissible variant to make its way into the New Zealand community transmission, further lockdowns again. People might think I'm scaremongering, but that has been the experience in the past, and we've got an unvaccinated population. The UK, the US, they've seen what happens once you vaccinate. Their infection rates are, declining markedly. So that's the first thing, is it's protection. But then the second thing is the budget forecasts are predicated on opening up to the world from the 1st of January 2022. Now, I don't think anyone seriously thinks that's going to happen. But the point is we've got to vaccinate and get to herd immunity before we can open up.
So on that, what percentage of the population needs to be jabbed for us to open the borders?
Well, if you look at what the scientists say, 70%, when the COVID first started, it was about 70%, they thought. You now got Dr. Fauci in the States saying 80, 85, maybe even 90%.
Is that where the Nats are sitting now? Is that what your preference would be, 80, 85?
I think you've got to be guided by the science. I think it's as much as you can possibly do, but 80 to 85, which means you've got to vaccinate a lot of people because these new transmissible variants, do require a higher rate.
You still leave 15 to 20% of the population vulnerable, though, right?
Well, if you get to herd immunity, the point of that is, of course, that they won't be as vulnerable. But, look, the reality is some people don't want to get vaccinated and they do want to, kind of free ride on the back of others. That's just the reality. And we're not going to make people get vaccinated.